she gets a clap on the back from me. Because obviously she was counting on that because it's important to her to have a pat on the back from me. Okay, today we are talking about new makeup releases. Again, can you actually believe it? I can, because it's the makeup industry and a new product is released like every second. Anyway, I do love making these videos. Just a little disclaimer, I am very, very honest. In my opinion, my personal opinion, it doesn't have to be your opinion, it's just that I'm very honest about my opinion in these videos. So if that sounds interesting, keep on watching. And you could also hit that subscription button and that notification bell if you would like to. If not, all good. I would love it if you did, but if not, all good. Now let's talk about this new makeup, shall we? Okay, I'm gonna sit off to the side so that I can put the pictures up here like normal, and like normal I am going to go into trend mode and we are just going to talk about the products that interest me basically. If you're wondering, I have my phone right here, so that is why I am constantly looking down, because otherwise I have no idea what I'm talking about. I can't remember all this off by heart, you know. So let's just go ahead and get Colourpop out of the way first of all, because you know that they have come out with a couple of releases since I've done one of these. So the first one is the Dark Blooms collection. That one has just been released today, I think, as I'm filming this. Now it looks like it's got 3 eyeshadow palettes, 3 blushes, and then it has a couple of lip packs and their luxe glosses and their luxe velvet formula. So you can purchase them in like different sets, you can purchase the bundle, you can purchase them individually like normal with Colourpop. I think this collection, again, I will say A++ for their packaging. I just think, like I've said it a million times in these videos, but Colourpop is just absolutely killing it in the packaging game this year. I think it's so beautiful. I think they nailed it. It's just beautiful packaging wise. Tick. Blushes, I personally love. I like, if I wanted to go on an order and pick up something from Colourpop right now, I definitely would pick up these blushes, or at least 2 of them. I do really like their blush formula and I really like these. I mean, being from Australia, it's like I kind of save up like all my Colourpop stuff to do a big order so that I get free shipping, and because it takes so long and it's a whole thing anyway. But I would pick up those blushes. I don't mind the lip duo packs that they've got. I think they're kind of good. I think they're they're really pretty, and it looks like they have a velvet and a gloss in each pack, so I think that's awesome because it's a nice little set. I wouldn't pick them up just because I'm not really a massive lip person, and I've got so many in my collection, but I do think they're really, really pretty. And then the eyeshadow palettes, I do think they're very pretty. And it's not that they've actually been releasing these are actually a little bit different compared to normal from what they've been releasing lately, but it's just, I've got all of these colors in my collection. I just don't need to add anything else to my collection that looks exactly like this. So it's not that I don't like the eyeshadow palettes, I just personally wouldn't purchase them because I already have them in my collection. But Colourpop's formula is amazing, and if you don't have anything like this in your collection, then it is a beautiful, it's a really nice collection, especially these palettes, because you've got warm tones and cool tones and then like a middle, so it kind of really, you'd have all of the collection, and then neutral colors. So if you're a neutral color person, this potentially is a really good one to pick up, and then you've got like everything one and done, and it's nice and cheap and it's great quality. So that's my thought on that collection. The other release that Colourpop did was the Star Wars Baby Yoda palette. Now, everything about this palette tells me that I don't need it. I have colors in my collection that look exactly like it, and it's just probably a little bit of like gimmicky packaging, but I don't know what the hell it is about this palette, but I want it. Like, I actually want it. It's so pretty to me. The greeny colors in here, like the 3 greens, like how it's like a mint and a khaki and a bit of an olive, I love that. I love the browns that they've got in here. The shimmer shades look beautiful. I'm gonna assume it's the great Colourpop quality that we know and love. The packaging is adorable. Who doesn't love Baby Yoda? Like, who doesn't love Baby Yoda? Even to be completely honest, even if this palette wasn't actually the Baby Yoda palette, I still would be drawn and interested in this palette, because I don't know what it is about this color scheme. It just has me interested, and I don't need it. I have something like these colors in my collection, but potentially the next time I make a Colourpop order, I probably will pick it up, to be completely honest with you. Makeup by Mario has done another release, kind of a second drop for him, and that's awesome. Now, if you watch my last makeup releases video, I'll link it up here and down below for you. You know that I was really disappointed with his original release and his collection. One, the packaging, we don't need to recover it, but I'm not a fan of the packaging. And I just thought that the products he released weren't super innovative or interesting for me personally at this time with the makeup collection that I have. Now this time he has released like a pro lip palette, which is kind of like the Anastasia Beverly Hills one that she had a couple of years ago, and I actually just recently decluttered it. Well, I didn't declutter it, I threw it out because it was completely expired, because I just didn't use it. So he's got like a lip palette like that. He's got 3 eyeshadow quads, and then it looks like a couple more eyeliners and some lip glosses. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this looks like it's kind of his holiday collection as well, but I'd say that most of these products are sticking around. The glosses look really pretty. I'm assuming the formula would be really good quality. The eyeshadow quads, same thing. Actually, they are quite pretty, the eyeshadow quads. It's just, again, I have all of these colors in my collection already, so there is no point in me purchasing these, but they do look very pretty, and like my mum, for example, would love the blue one. So I think they're really pretty. The pro lip palette, I get it. He's a makeup artist, so he has probably made his makeup collection with makeup artists in mind. So I totally get that pro lip palette, because for them that would be amazing, but for a consumer like me and for someone who has already purchased one of these kind of lip palettes before, I know I would never ever use it. It's just not user friendly. It's fine if you're creating looks for, say, the gram or like YouTube or something, and that's all you're gonna do, because you can like sit here with your makeup desk and like mix the color up, and you can make whatever color you want, and the world is your oyster. So I kind of get that, that's awesome. But if you're like an everyday consumer, you are not going to take that palette out with you and touch up your lipstick through the day and be like, just hold on a minute while I mix up my lipstick color and I remember exactly the right quantities that I put in for that lipstick color as I go about my day. Like, you're just not going to do that. It's not realistic. So I think for the everyday consumer, this palette is not ideal, but I think for makeup artists, it's perfect. And like I said, if you're someone that does a lot of like creative Instagram looks or YouTube looks, and that's kind of, you just want every lip color basically at your disposal, it's also a really good product. KKW is coming out with a new release, and I'm actually excited. Well, actually KKW has 2 releases, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the one that I'm interested in first, and then let's talk about the one that I could care less about. So the one that I am super interested in, and if you know me at all or have watched any of my videos, you know that I'm super into complexion products. Now, KKW is releasing 4 color correctors for your under eyes, so under eye concealer color correctors. They're releasing 4 new brightening powders in the compact, 4 new baking powders in different colors, and then they're also extending their concealer shade range. So I think it's really good that they're extending their shade ranges. I think that's really awesome. And in fact, I actually really love the KKW baking powders, and I will be picking up, I've been waiting for like to go through my other powders, but also for like a Black Friday sales basically to pick up another baking powder from KKW. And this time I'm actually glad that I've waited, because I will actually pick up one of the new shades, which is the translucent pastel pink, because the Milk Makeup Blur powder that I absolutely adore and love and can't buy in Australia, the shade of it is like a pastel-y pink kind of color, and I think that's why I really like it. So I'm going to pick up that because I do love the formula already, and I actually do want a refill on it. I'm also going to pick up the shade 2 Peach color corrector for my under eyes, because again, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I complain nonstop about the pigmentation on my under eyes, and I'm wondering if maybe it might help, and it might help with the darkness. So there you go. Okay, so now let's talk about the release that I could care less about. So for Kim K's 40th birthday, which apparently has been very controversial, she released a birthday collection, and it is the Opal birthday collection. And I do actually think this is pretty. So the one thing I'm super happy about is that she's released an eyeshadow palette that is not exactly the same as every single other eyeshadow palette that she has brought out. Like, this is very, yeah, it's pretty different. Like, it's very different to all of her other eyeshadow palettes. So I'm very happy about that. And the glosses, I think they're glosses actually. Are they glosses? Let's have a look. Hold please. No, they're semi-matte liquid lipsticks. So actually I do quite like those. And if I was into lip products, or I didn't have a lot of lip products, maybe I'd be interested in picking one of those up, because I think the shades are really pretty. I think there's 1 gloss and 2 lip liners. So again, that's just not really my thing. I already have a million glosses. I don't need any more. But the eyeshadow palette itself, I'm not picking it up just because, and I probably will mention this a couple of times in this video if there's palettes like it, but do brands kind of get together? Okay, someone give me your thoughts on this. Do you find that brands get together and seem to just be like, okay, so this year we're going to release products that all have these colors, these exact same colors as each other. And then next year we're going to do this color. Because I do feel like this year, especially lately, nearly every single palette is heavily purple themed. Just heavily purple themed, which is completely fine. Purple is beautiful, but then when every company starts releasing a purple palette of some form, you don't need them anymore because you've got a million purples in your collection. See what I'm saying? So that's what I feel. I feel like I've bought a few palettes this year that really have a heavy purple emphasis in them, and now I'm just at a point where I'm like, can you please stop putting purples in an eyeshadow palette, because I don't need any more, and I'm not going to buy it if you have purple in there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Melt Cosmetics is releasing a Beetlejuice collection, and I don't think they've really released any promo pictures that you can actually see the products decently enough to be like, yes, I would want that or not. Maybe well, I'm on Treadmoon now, so no, they haven't released any different ones. It looks like it's a full collection of lip products and eyeliners and like eyeshadow palettes. Oh, it's even got brushes, glosses, a mirror, and a mascara, and more, so coming soon. I think that Melt is really cool. I personally have never tried them because their price point is really expensive, and I'm a little bit hesitant to see if they're worth the price point. So again, let me know if you have them down below and you're like, no, they're absolutely amazing. They're worth every single cent. I've definitely spent more money on more, like, hello, I buy Pat McGrath. I've never really been drawn in enough to their products to really warrant spending that much money on them. I think this collection is really cool. I don't think this collection is for someone like me who is probably, let's call myself a basic bitch. And I think this collection is probably made for someone that has a little bit more edge to them and loves wearing different colors and wearing unique colors, and is probably also a Beetlejuice fan. I've never even seen the movie. I don't do Halloween, that kind of stuff. So I think if you're into that kind of thing, this is an awesome collection for you. Again, one of the palettes heavily purple themed, but I get it because that's Beetlejuice, I presume. Packaging looks awesome, like A+ for packaging. But yeah, I just don't think that this is particularly for someone like myself. But if you are heavily into Halloween, you're a Beetlejuice fan, or you're like a unique color kind of wearer, then this is probably for you. Makeup Revolution has had a couple of releases as well since we last spoke. I know, can you believe it? One of them is a Disney Princess collection, and it's got like a Cinderella collection, a Beauty and the Beast, a Princess and the Frog. I think that's it for now. I think this is cute. Like, if you're a Disney fan, then this is gonna be for you. I am not a Disney fan. Like, I like them, don't get me wrong. I'm just not gonna buy anything Disney themed, if that kind of makes sense, because it's Disney themed. If I genuinely love the product, I would. Anyway, I will say that the Princess and the Frog palette is my personal favorite. I think the color scheme of that eyeshadow palette is really pretty, and I like the blushes and everything. I think that one is actually very pretty. I think these are actually pretty cute, and I think especially if you have like a daughter or anyone, doesn't have to be a girl, into makeup and they're a bit younger and they're mad about Disney, it's probably like a really cool collection for them. The second thing that Makeup Revolution has released is their Friends Series 2 collection. So I'm going to assume they're going all the way to the end of the series, which will be interesting. And I actually like this one a lot better because it's a lot more like relevant to the Friends franchise. So I mean, again, I'm not going to pick any of this up, even though I love Friends. I'm not someone that's into like buying products because they've got a TV show or something on them. It's just not for me. But I think this is way better. Like, it's got the coffee cup palette, the lobster palette, the mirror palette, the Phoebe's Taxi palette. Like, I think that's awesome. The lip balms with like the little coffee cup and everything and Central Perk on it, they're adorable. Like, if that was in stores around me and I was like, I saw it, I'd probably pick that up because it's like small and cute. But I think this collection is a lot better than their last one. And I think I just think this is overall kind of more like, you would look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's Friends, that's cool. Like, that's nostalgic kind of thing versus the original or versus Series 1. Huda Beauty is releasing a new eyeshadow palette called the Naughty Palette. And it is the description here is a burgundy dream. And I would definitely agree with that. It is extreme, like, it is a burgundy themed palette, so yay, it's not purple, it's close, but it's not. I think this palette is beautiful. I really do. I think she's done a really good job of making this palette unique. Sure, burgundy in itself is not a unique color scheme. However, I do think these marbled kind of shades in here are stunning. I think even one of them is matte. I'm sure I read that. Let me just check. 3 mults. Yeah, 1 Hypnotic Marble Cream. Sorry. It's a cream. And then she also has this weird thing in here that I saw going around Instagram where everyone like zoomed in on this one little square and everyone was like, what the hell is this? And even I thought that. I was like, does she have mold or something in this bottom corner? Does she know that? But it is a never before seen gloss encapsulated with bronze and berry pearl. So it must be like a glossy metallic-y shade or something, because when you look at her swatches you can't really tell the difference between any of the formulas. So I think the fact that she's got so many cool and unique formulas in here is amazing. I would like to pick up this palette. Huda's palettes are quite expensive. They're Natasha Denona expensive levels. I think they're about $110 here in Australia, so they're really quite pricey. I still want the Mercury palette. I just have never justified picking it up because I don't think her formula is that good for that price point, if that kind of makes sense. So yes, I would really, really like this palette, but I might wait until the palettes go on sale before I pick it up. Okay, so Kylie has released a new collection. It is, I guess, the leopard. Yeah, it is. There you go. The leopard collection is what it's called. This isn't for me. I like Kylie Cosmetics actually. I've only got one palette from them, so I say I like them, but I've tried one thing from them, and I really like the palette that I have. I do think their formula is very similar to Colourpop, so you can purchase Colourpop for a lot cheaper of a price, but there are some other products from her that I would be interested in trying. If she had like a sale or something, I'll pick them up. I digress. This collection is not for me. The eyeshadow palette is just a boring neutral eyeshadow palette with a pop of blue, and I feel like she's now entering Kim K zone where she's continuing to release like the same palettes over and over again, and she interchanges like 1 or 2 shades if we're lucky. Anyway, this palette is not for me. I've just got those colors in my collection. It's not interesting to me, and the rest of this collection isn't interesting to me either. I think she's got glosses in here. Is that what they are? Yeah, a high gloss set. I have heard that her glosses are really, really good. It's just I don't like this packaging. I actually don't mind leopard, but I don't know what it is. I don't like this packaging particularly. And then she's got some eye crayons, which just remind me of the NYX eye jumbo sticks from back in the day, and I just cannot get behind that. I just can't, I'm sorry. And then it looks like there's a pressed highlighter. Yeah, there is a pressed highlighter and a lip liner and a lip product, and it just screams really typical Kylie. Like there's just nothing new in this collection for me to be like, yeah, I want to spend my money on that. It's unique, it looks cool. Huda also has had a new foundation release. She has released her foundation sticks, and I have to admit I'm slightly intrigued by these. Now normally with Huda complexion products, I'm like, hell to the no, don't come near me, I don't want anything to do with you. And that is because she uses such a heavy fragrance in her complexion products. Like it is choking heavy, and it is not a nice fragrance. I don't know who told her that that fragrance was nice, but it's disgusting. It smells like your 80-year-old grandmother's floral perfume that you can't stand. It's horrible. Anyway, I was very excited to see that this foundation stick that she has released is fragrance free. She gets a clap on the back from me, because obviously she was counting on that because it's important to her to have a pat on the back from me. But she genuinely does, because fragrance free is amazing. It means I could actually pick up this foundation stick and it potentially wouldn't break me out. I haven't checked if it's got any other ingredients in there that break me out. That's not her fault. I'm sensitive. Now I think the shade range on this foundation stick is pretty good. I don't have a lot of experience with deep dark skin tones, so from looking at this it looks like a good variety of shades, but I'm going to presume there can always be work done. It is also a medium coverage foundation stick, which I am quite interested in and intrigued in, because her faux filter foundation was just too matte and full coverage for me, and it just didn't sit right. So I'm interested to see kind of what this looks like on the skin. However, I have watched a couple of reviews and people haven't really raved about it so far. So I'm not going to pick it up. I probably would if there was like a really large discount on it, but the reviews that I've seen just haven't been raving enough for me to go and purchase it on my own. But I'm very impressed that she didn't include fragrance in this. Very impressed. Okay, so I want to talk about this one because for me this has been the biggest disappointment. I say this like it's really that big of a deal. It's not, but I was really disappointed in this product. So Natasha Denona has released a holiday palette, and she's gone back to her big one, which is super expensive. It's like 230 Australian dollars. I think it's like 129 for Americans or something like that. Yep, it is. It's the Trio Chrome palette. That's it. So this is the photo that was first released from Trend Mood, and I'm presuming it's from the brand. Now this palette is like something from my dreams. I'm like, sign me up to this palette. Like, I'll pay whatever I got to. And I'm not even a Natasha Denona fan. Again, if you've watched my channel, you know that. Like, I'm a little bit skeptical about it. But this particular photo here looks super interesting to me because when I first saw this, the top left corner looks like it potentially is a khaki shade, which I was like, well, you had me at khaki. Number two, the one next to that kind of looks like a faint mint shade. To me, anyway, in my eyes. Then the others look kind of like a limey green, maybe with a yellow. Like I could see them leaning towards yellow. The trio chromes, I could personally care less about. I don't even like duochromes, just me, I just don't like them. But you know, I'm like, yep, cool, that's fine. And the rest of the mattes in this palette look really beautiful. And even though there are some purples in here, they're like a really, really light pastel matte purple, and I'm into that. So when I first saw this and I saw this promo picture, I was like, yes. Even the swatches from the original promo, I'm like, yes, sign me up. This is a palette that I want. It's unique. I'm into it. Then Trend Mood posts these photos. And I think this is from a follower of hers that potentially got the palette in PR or something and took the photos, or I'm not really sure. Anyway, this is the palette in real life. Now, as you will see, with much disappointment on my behalf, that top left corner is just an ugly brown. I mean, it's a brown, fine. It's probably not ugly. It's probably like a great neutral. But anyway, that second shade that I thought was a lime or a mint green is actually a very pale yellow. And the other two shades that kind of look like they're a green-yellow hybrid but leaning more towards a green, again, just yellows, just plain yellows. The Redox shade, which looked like a matte purpley kind of color, is pink. And yeah, everything just looks a little bit dull and just not the same color that they advertised here. I'm gonna put the two pictures here so that you can see the difference. These are two different palettes in my eyes. This is expectation versus reality. Like, this is disappointing. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna purchase it because I want to see it in person before I fully pass judgment, but I really highly doubt I will purchase this because the trio chromes are fine. You can't photograph a trio chrome, I get that, and I don't care about them anyway. But yeah, I just really wanted these shades to be better. And maybe it's the lighting of this particular photo, who knows. But yeah, anyway, like I said, I am waiting till I see this palette in person so that I can make my final judgment on whether or not it's as boring as it looks in these photos or if it looks as exciting as it does in its promo photo. And I'm really hoping for the promo photo. And if it is, I will purchase it because that looks freaking awesome. Alright, you guys, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. That is all of the kind of new makeup releases for now. I didn't talk about any Christmas packs because I think I'm going to do a separate like holiday makeup edition video and talk about them. So I've left them out, so stay tuned for that one. As always, let me know in the comments down below what you plan on picking up. If you do plan on picking up anything, or are you just like, everything's super boring to me, I could care less. Let me know down below. Now before you go, if you did enjoy the video, you could give it a like, you could subscribe, you could hit the notification bell, or you could do all three. Thank you so much for being here and watching, especially at this point. I truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next time. Bye!